So guys, as you will have seen in the last video, we put a new timing belt kit on this engine. But unfortunately, it's not worked. It's for the scrap heap. As you can see there, we have a nice, shiny, direct replacement. So, obviously we've got this in, got it strapped up and whatnot. But as you can see, there's just bits wrong with this, like intake manifold split that's leaking coolant, it overheated, the thermostat was questionable on this. Obviously we've got a new belt on there, new water pump, but we've got another water pump because this one's staying with this block for the scrap, but we will reuse this belt. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. A full service kit. As you can see on this one, we've got no turbo on there, so we'll be taking the turbo from this engine because it's on 91 thou, so pretty good, and mating it up to the new one. What we could do is swap the injectors out and then not have to code it, but for the sake of what it is, we now have Opcom, and all we need is our little values in there. So what we'll do, before we stick this in, we'll grab those codes, grab pictures of each injector. Obviously number one's this side, timing belt side. I mean, even this timing belt looks relatively good, but we're going to put this one on. So we know what this one is. This one's not done any miles. This one we don't, but looks like it has had a water pump, it has had the sump off and whatnot. So what we're going to do is get cracking on stripping this one out. So air boxes, battery, all that. Strip all this out, and then we'll separate the engine from the gearbox, and then hopefully when we remove that engine mount, we've got enough room to slide this gearbox engine over and remove the engine whilst leaving the gearbox in situ. First things first, we've stripped the front bumper off of the car. One, two things: A, ease of getting under; B, it's the only way we're going to get to these water hoses to drain the coolant out of the system. It just gives us access if we need to take any of these boost pipes off or anything like that. Now I'm hoping to unbolt the AC. I don't know whether this has got gas in or not, but I'm hoping just unbolt the compressor and just leave that attached to the car. Probably move it out of the way. It looks like we might have a hydraulic power steering pump, which isn't present on this one, so we're going to change this whole cradle anyway, that way, because some of these pulleys, not that one, but some of them are a bit noisy on this engine, whereas they weren't on this one. Yeah, so we're going to drain the oil, so when we are working with this one and stripping it for parts later on, we've got no oil to worry about. So we get that out. I'm not going to bother draining gearbox oil yet, because I'm hoping to leave that gearbox in and the drive shaft in, therefore none of that business should be required. But looking around it, there's plenty of space around the engine. I mean, it's a massive car. Realistically, we have heater matrix hoses to deal with, fuel lines, all that good stuff. But yeah, bumps off the car, we've got that just up there on a towel so it doesn't scratch the paintwork, out of the way. Also, we've got a new engine here. This I stripped of wiring, so every bit of wire on this one needs to survive. But things like, I don't know where these vacuum lines go, all that stuff is going to be a learning curve. So obviously I can see some on this, that's where some go, but not all of them. Yeah, so we are probably going to have to take this heat shielding off. Luckily I did remember to bring my oxygen sensor toolkit too, so that's all good. So I'm going to crack on, I'm going to get the oil draining, and whilst I'm draining the oil, I'm going to strip the top as much as I can. So project update, obviously tools everywhere. So that's the entire wiring harness now split and separated from the engine itself. The only thing connected to the engine now is coolant and fuel. Exhaust removed, or a cat, whatever that is. Yeah, that's removed. So yeah, it's literally going to be things like coolant pipes and fuel lines, which is going to be fun. That's why we make a mess, but that's why I've disconnected everything else before, to get the main exhaust out, I had to lever this open, which released it from there, and then undo these 15 mils, which allowed me to move this bracket out and get it up. Now I'll be refitting the turbo to the new engine before it goes on, because I just think that would be, it doesn't look like it necessarily needs the clearance of that not being on to get in. If it does, I can just build it up, maybe lighter. Yeah, but obviously turbo can come off, but that can come off when it's out of the car. Realistically, because it looks like to me, oh no, so there's studs underneath and stud on top, so I'll be able to get that turbo off now actually, so I'll do that next. But yeah, that is all wiring undone, so I get turbo off, then fuel lines, coolant, then it's engine mount time. So I'll strip this like we did last time, and hopefully then we can undo all the e-Torx bolts on the gearbox, slide it over, get it out. Right, quick update. As you can see, we've got two engines. Yeah, so you can indeed remove the engine, leaving the gearbox in situ. Is it ideal? No, you really got to tilt that engine right up. And obviously we've left those pumps in place, which is fun. And the wind keeps trying to get the start, which is lovely. Yeah, so drive shaft, driver's side, died. It seized into the half shaft there, where you can see the remnants of it under there. But there was nothing holding that CV together. A gentle tug on the axle, and it just went to pop. So new drive shaft required. So you can clean everything up whilst we're in here, give it a good once over, check everything else. Everything in here looks handy dandy. Yeah, this one looks like it's got a newer clutch and flywheel, so we'll leave that. We'll stick that one on. This is the only piece, the EGR end tank, that we're going to need off of this engine now, and we will need some of the glow plugs there, because this has 4 normal glow plugs and a different wiring harness, and that has 2 pressure sensors. So, I mean, one to resell, isn't it? But yeah, because that's a 2013 engine, that's a 2010. So yeah, we're gonna have to swap some of the wiring over, because it is just on different plugs, but that's just by the by. It's the same core block, so we're happy with that. We've taken off of this engine now, taken the timing belt off, and the tensioner, we've stolen that because they're brand spanking, so they're going to go on this engine. It's already got the locking pin in it, the lock down there, so that's good to go. But yeah, as for moving these, they have a load leveler, I just don't have it with me, so tomorrow I can start moving these about on my Todd with a proper load leveler, because obviously that slips there, hasn't it, just being a chain. No harm, no foul. But yeah, it's on axle stands. It's got 2 jacks either side, well, a jack either side. So this is how we're going to leave it for day one. But we have out everything we need out, apart from the remnants of that drive shaft. I'm not tackling that yet, not until this bit's done and that half shaft's bolted back on. Yeah, so that's probably where I'm going to leave this for video number 1. Apologies I'm not shown some bits. It is always handy to like label things. So engine bolts, so you've got 2 nuts, 2 E18s and 2 E16s. Just bits like that help organise where your stuff is, what it's for and where it goes as well. So working backwards, we've got those engine nuts, we've got turbo nuts, bolts, banjo bolts, Those are the three for that half shaft. Their starter motor, that's intake, that's air conditioning, because one of them is still in there. They're quite long. That's hydraulic steering pump. Those actually bolt in through the pulley itself. This is all exhaust stuff, and these are like bumper fixings. So we've got everything nice and organised. I've now got a video reference. So yeah. The other thing to note as well, so it came up for the engine code on this that we wanted a 6PK 1850. Well, this is a 6PK 1903. So that other belt wants to go back. That one just there, because it's too short. This must be the size, well, the correct size for an engine that has hydraulic power steering. So that's fun. Obviously, say bits like alternator. We will strip all the ancillaries off this. So what I have done as well, I've already got the cradle off for that AC hydraulic motor pump thing for the power steering. Grab the tensioner, because these bits, like, that looks nigh on brand new. So yeah, that's what I'm going to call it for today. So catch you in the next one. So here we are back at it, and we have our new engine here. So this is the one that we've cleaned up. Now I've just timed this up so we can see the timing mark there on the bottom of the new belt. Timing mark there. Timing mark there. And obviously all those marks now align, and the marks internally I've done there also line up. So this one is now completely stripped of everything by the clutch. I've rubbed all the injectors out, pretty much everything. That is a air block that is obviously now no good. This is our good engine. We bought used, and then these are all the bits we've taken off it. Need to steal the EGR end cap as it was broken during transport, unfortunately, for the EGR cooler. So I'm going to steal that, get that on to this one, and start doing things like bolt the turbo up. We do still have the glow plugs to change over on this one, because it does. So that's the glow plug lead on this engine. That's the one from the old engine. So we're going to put all the old wiring on back on this one. Something we have done around the other side. We've plugged the old wiring in, so we've changed the crank sensor. Oil level sensor is still the same, and there was some swirl swap thingy, swirl flap motor, so that's plugged in there, but this engine doesn't have those flaps. So yeah, and this manifold is routed, so that's the system for opening and closing those flaps. I don't know whether that's going to bring us any issue, not having these flaps, as long as the motor's there and it thinks that it's doing it. Don't know if that's just an anti-shudder feature or what. But the actual intake manifold itself is cracked and is no bueno. So we'll be leaving that where it is. So in 33-degree heat, this is what we've got. Engine is back in, back on its mount, bolted up to the gearbox. Yeah, so this new engine is now in. So we've swapped all the glow plugs. So I'll swap the two pressure ones for non-pressure ones, swapped over the harness to match this harness that's on the car. Yeah, now it's just going to be a case of sticking everything back together. Now, you need to bolt up things like the hydraulic power steering, aircon lines, they need to go back on. Yeah, all bits and bats like that. Looks like we've lost a connector that goes on there. Looks like that's ended up down there. So we'll grab that. Just little bits and bobs, really. things just need to go back to where they belong. Only thing I'm going to keep accessible is this gearbox, because we've had to remove that shaft there, and as you can see, a nice mix of coolant and gearbox fluid on the floor, which smell absolutely lovely. So yeah, and then of course we've got the little service bits to do. So yeah, I'm just going to start cracking on. Obviously running this wiring harness is going to be fun, but we now have the engine in where it should be. So now we have everything buttoned up really, in terms of all the electricals plugged in. Alternators back on, power steering pump and air conditioning pump are back on. The two things left to do: gearbox oil. I have removed the 10mm plug on the side, which is the fill level. Just need to remove the fill plug up there. And the exhaust, unfortunately it dropped below the subframe, so now I'm thinking I might well have to get the crane back out, undo these 3 bolts, the engine mount, tilt the engine up, just to give it enough clearance to get that exhaust pipe past the sump, drop it back down, then I can connect that exhaust back up. But I've got all the coolant lines on everywhere, things are buttoned up, all the clips are on, fuel lines reconnected. Like I say, the entire electrical system's plugged back in and like connectors pushed tight. So that's all good. Obviously the only one we haven't plugged in is for the airbox, because the airbox isn't in. New copper washers on the banjo bolt for the turbo feed. This one didn't get taken off this engine, so that's gone straight back on. So we've got new gaskets where they're needed, so like for the oil drain, that's had a new gasket. Turbos had a new gasket, new nut, 2 new ones at the bottom. This was threads originally, but it looks like the threads stripped out of something. I couldn't get the studs in, whether they were just wrong for this kit. But yeah, I've sent those E-Torx bolts in, copper bolts, and that is held on nice and tightly. New exhaust clamp and new sealing ring on the inside. That's all in, that's all on, that's all good. I'm not sure if this bolt's going to interfere with the heat shield that goes on the top there. We'll see, or if I need to then unplug the EGT sensors, like lambda probes, to put that shield back on. I don't know, we will find out. But yeah, so like I say, going under the car, you can see there that exhaust, how it won't now clear because the sump's there, and yeah, subframe's in the way, so I think lifting the engine will solve that problem. And like I say, that's the gearbox plug, so that's a 10mm there, and then there's an 8mm up the top. This is where we're at. This is now together completely. Coolant lines are on, we have coolant, everything's on. That's not tightened up because I've got to put all this crap back in, assuming everything works. Now everything's plugged in, bolted up, exhaust is now on. If you're in that situation, what I did there was, you don't raise the engine, you drop it. That gives you enough, because when you raise it, the flange for this comes closer to the subframe at the bottom. So drop it, that gives you enough room, gets that on. I'm concerned about this hose popping off, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't know what that's for. In fact, I might just whack a Jubilee clip on that very quickly. But yeah, everything's plugged in. ECU's plugged back in, this plug's plugged back in. I need to throw some loom tape over that. I was trying to see if this loom was detachable, keep it with the engine. Then I just decided to take it off, as you saw in the video. Now everything's back in. Yeah, I just need to connect that up. And then, because the fuel system will be empty, I'm going to crank it without trying to let it prime, just so that this should turn over first time, not start the first time, just to build a bit of oil pressure and get that oil circulating. So pulling this, as you can see, we have oil, but some of that's going to get sucked into the oil filter, some of that's going to get sucked into the turbo. Like I said, I want to build a bit of oil pressure before this thing gets enough fuel to start. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a Jubilee clip for that. Then I'm going to throw the negative on and give it a start. Now this battery is only loosely in there because it's only first start. We still are missing our drive shaft for the driver's side, and we still don't have enough fluid in the gearbox. Put a litre in, but we had that intermediate shaft there out, and as you can see on the floor there's a mix of coolant and gearbox oil. Now I didn't have to remove that to take the engine out, but this engine was fighting me. It was an absolute pain in the backside. I think it took me about 2.5 hours to actually get this, whilst it was in here, get it mated up to the gearbox. Yeah, that was interesting. Definitely quick using a load leveler, but still fiddly nonetheless. I don't think I'll be in a rush to do another one of these. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to get a Jubilee clip on that and throw the negative on, and we're going to try, see if it'll start. But we have it started. We have no error codes! Wow. Right, so where we are now is we've had a successful start up. So what I've done now, bolted this heat shield on. I put this clamp in the wrong position for the shield, so the shield has been clearanced to fit. This is now back tight. Going to get the cam belt cover back on. I've stripped this back, took the battery back out. So when you get to that fill plug there, we have some more gearbox oil ready to go in, so we can get that in. We have new drive shaft here. So as you can see, this is the old one that came out of the car. It's a 13219092. Exactly the same there. Again, original shaft came out of breaker. Looks in good condition. Looks like it had a boot more recently there than it has here. But yeah, I don't know what this red rammel is on this one, but this one looks a hell of a lot cleaner on there. But we'll get a bit of lube on that, and on that side make sure they're going to go in and play ball. Now when I went to a breakage yard, I had to pull this out of the car myself, and it came with the full shaft because it didn't have a vice and a big enough hammer to split the two at the time. So now I've got this shaft. This shaft can now go in, and then we can re-button up all of the suspension. The 2 pinch bolts that live in the strut. So it's just got one in at the minute, and one's half in. So we can get this shaft in, get some gearbox oil in, then we check fluids. Then what I'll do is I'll get on the diagnostics, code the injectors in, because we have different injectors to the ones before. I have got the original injectors somewhere, yeah, down there, and I marked them up which cylinder there was, so just so I can confirm it with the diagnostics that I'm changing the one for the right cylinder, but it should be cam belt side 1, 2, 3, 4. You do have to pay attention with the codes because sometimes the S's look like 5s and all that jazz. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and then it'll be bumper on, arch liners in, under tray on after it's up to temp. And we've confirmed we've got heat coming out the airbox because we've had the matrix pipes off. And yeah, then it'll be test drive. And job's a good one, hopefully. We've used some more of that gearbox oil, and as we can see now, it's come out of that fill port down there. We're just going to wait for the dripping to stop. Just focus on that. Yeah, just going to wait for that dripping down there now to stop, so it stops dripping out the gearbox. And as soon as it does that, we know it's good to go. It's filled correctly. So what I can do now is pop that bung back in up top, just wait for it to stop, then do that one down there, and then this one is ready to then button the back battery tray back in, stick the front bumper back on, and run her up to 10. Here we have everything buttoned up. Now we have injector codes to do, which is going to be fun. Yeah, so I'm going to load up Opcom. Battery's back on, everything's connected. Only thing I'm leaving off is that coolant cap, because I need to burp the cooling system. But yeah, so I'm going to go in, flick the ignition on, try and code it up, and yeah, we should then be able to fire this thing up and drive it out, because it's now back on its wheels, both sides, and all the jacks are out from underneath. There we have it. It's moved, it's driven, it's gone under its own steam. Don't look like we're leaking now.